billion. And now the market, oh, it went to zero. Yeah.
Don't get rug pulled. Don't get rug pulled. Don't get rug pulled. Don't get rug pulled. Heard that project is a trap. Don't get rug pulled. Everything they say is kept. Don't get rug pulled. 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 Turn your savings into scraps. Don't get rug pulled. They be plotting on your racks. Whoa, whoa. We gon' know where we at. New USB for my racks. Not slipping, no, I never let. VPN changed the map. He lying, you know that he kept. I know he be hacking. Look at the way I check. The same way I bring racks in. That's the same way I bring racks in.
Damn.
That's the same way I bring racks in. That's the same way I bring racks in. Don't get rug pulled. 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 Heard that project is a trap. Don't get rug pulled. Everything they say is kept. Don't get rug pulled. 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 Turn your savings into scraps. Don't get rug pulled. They be plotting on your racks. Whoa, whoa. We gon' know where we at. We gon' know where we at. Not slipping, no, I never let. We gon' know where we at. We gon' know where we at. Not slipping, no, I never let. Not slipping, no, I never let.
Oh, good Lord. You've seen it live.
Yo, what's going on, Veve homies and Omet and Red Circle Army? Welcome to the stream. Today we have another Ecomi and Veve video this morning, and I got a busy week this week, so we're just gonna jump into it. We're gonna clear up a lot of confusion in the Veve community because I feel like people just don't understand the technology that the NFTs are based on and kind of the macro. So a lot of people are injecting their own narratives into the Veve community, which I feel is a little bit misleading. And I wanted to clear it up on my end too, because from my end, I'm just pointing out the technology that's out there in the space, and some people are just not understanding where I'm coming from. So again, we're going to be diving into all of that. And again, we'll be talking about the tech, which some people in the community are viewing it as FUD, and we're going to dispel that. Why just information that exists out there is not FUD, it's just information, and why we shouldn't be mad at the consumers for people that may be upset based on what the company has told everybody. So again, we have a lot to get through, and basically the technology that is behind these NFTs. So let's go ahead and get to some of these tweets that we're seeing. So welcome in. If you're tuning in, we're going to jump into Twitter real quick. We have a lot to dive into. So we have, for example, a lot of people, like, we're going to scroll up. I believe this was posted originally by Veve Vault. So we'll kind of
IPFS NFTs.
Dive into this. So in this video, basically they're using the example of IPFS versus on-chain NFTs. So a couple things there. You have the Bored Ape Yacht Club, or I'm sorry, CryptoPunks. I think Crypto Skulls even, which the art is on chain and the NFT is on chain. So therefore it's more like a pure NFT, right? And then you have IPFS, which is different because it essentially allows the images that are stored on a server basically to be scaled up, right? The imagery to be much larger file sizes, and therefore you don't have to mint the artwork directly on chain. So this allows developers and project owners and companies to scale up their NFTs. You still have the token, but the file is not directly, linked to the actual NFT. So you kind of have like these two different NFTs that people are talking about, right, in the Veve community. So to kind of separate the two, if that makes any sense at all, that it gets really technical, and we're finally talking about the technicals. This is something that Kay brought up a long time ago in the Veve community when nobody understood what was going on. But at the same time, I talked about it as well. We're going to get into that too, though, because this isn't really where the line is drawn. You still don't have just these two NFTs. We're going to start talking about ordinals, Bitcoin ordinals, and you can actually mint data on chain on Bitcoin as well now. And so there's much more dynamics than just IPFS NFTs and on-chain NFTs and then IMX NFTs. You have a lot of different kinds of NFTs, right? There's a lot of NFTs, and people are thinking what I'm providing information is just FUD when it's actually not. It's just information that's already available publicly. So we're going to get into that. Again, basically how people are using this in the community. Not everybody, but select people are saying if IPFS NFTs are like 90% of the NFTs on OpenSea, then that means that everything's an NFT. That's the argument, but essentially, I think that argument's a little silly in terms of looking at it from a collector's perspective. And I think that's where the two distinctions have to be made, is you start talking about what's collectible, what's more collectible than the next collectible next to it, right? Like what brings value to my Todd statue if my Todd statue was being compared to a plastic Todd statue. So again, there's two different types of statues. It's the same statue. Maybe one's plastic, but maybe one is the actual statue back there, right? Or maybe Veve decides to ship more of these light boxes with these light signs behind me, but instead of them being the first originals, they end up being like they're made of a different material, they're cheaper, maybe, a different thing, right? So again, that's where like I see and kind of draw from a collector standpoint of where things are going in the space. And we're seeing the rise of Bitcoin ordinals pop off. And since the art is on chain, some people are seeing Bitcoin ordinal as more of a collectible item than your average, Ethereum at layer 1 NFT, if you will. And again, there is points to be made here in terms of on-chain NFTs versus IPFS NFTs. And a lot of people in the Veve community just don't understand the dynamics of what's going on in the wider NFT space. They're just now learning about it. I've been tweeting about it for the past several months, and finally it's kind of getting the attention of the Veve community finally. But it's also being painted as a narrative to say like, kind of like Veve NFTs are the only NFTs because they're IP and it's a brand. And I just don't like it because it's not providing a full picture on the entire Web3 space. And it's basically like saying Veve's better than the entire Web3 space. It just doesn't make sense to me when Veve is in the Web3 space. So I don't know. It just seems a bit odd and a bit silly to kind of draw conclusions and comparisons like, that Veve somehow better than the entire Web3 space. It's just silly, right? Because it's literally just a part of the Web3 space. And I just don't like when people are comparing Veve versus projects that like are going through some issues and kind of knocking some of these Web3 projects. And I'm like, yeah, these are independent like art, like NFT projects. You can't compare Veve to that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just don't like the narratives being like painted here. What I'm doing is I'm just providing the information out there. Again, that's open in the public is domain where people can look this up themselves. For example, we have Arweave. So we're going to get into like the technology. Again, people were talking about IPFS NFTs, but you can actually mint NFTs on Ethereum layer 1 with permanent. So it says here, meet Arweave, permanent information storage. Again, people are trying to use IPFS as the end all be all. Like, look, if this NFT isn't the file and the asset's not on chain, therefore it is not an NFT. But that's not the case because on layer 1 Ethereum, you're minting an actual token. So the token actually represents the object on chain, and you can actually go on Etherscan and look at your collection. You can actually, it'll show you token data, it'll show you smart contract information on Etherscan. So it is insanely different from what how other blockchains actually work. So there's a lot of distinction to be made. Now, am I saying Veve NFTs are not real NFTs? No, that's not what we're saying here. We're actually just getting into more of the collector side of things. So yes, I did kind of clickbait you into being here today, and I'm sorry. So I'm not going to say Veve NFTs are fake NFTs or they're real NFTs. That's a discussion that I'm going to get into later and maybe on Veve Vault stream, where that is a whole different debate among itself. And we're seeing that play out with, of course, like William Quigley. He's arguing against like certain aspects of what's an NFT, what's not a real NFT. And that's his, you know, his fight to fight, right? It is not my battle to say what's an NFT and what's not an NFT, because the way I look at it is more holistically how the entire space is going. IMX is still scaling. Anyways, that's where I'm coming from. I definitely want to chop that up a lot more. But again, I'll probably be on Veve Vault's stream later on this week, and we'll chop it up about that. But I don't think the community is quite there yet in terms of education to even have that discussion about, you know, IMX. Is it, you know, like the only people that really know in the community how the actual tech works, and to look at the actual contract and the actual you know, execution, how proofs work, how it bridges and literally mints to layer 1 Ethereum. Nobody really knows how that works yet. So that's a discussion I think that we're too early to have, because not enough people in the community really understand even how it works. And that's fine. Not everybody's going to be a coder or like, you know what I mean? I've been in the space so long. So of course, and I work in this space, and I've worked for literally multiple, you know, blockchain companies, studios, and literally another layer 2. So yeah, I'm going to have a lot more knowledge than the next person, right? So we only have very finite people that actually know the full context and the full scope of how this actually works. And that's where I think we're a little too early to have that discussion and that topic. I see a lot of people in the chat. We have Hello K. Hello K knows how the tech works. We have there's Javier, Sailor's dad. He knows, but where I kind of disagree with Sailor is that the IPFS, right, where he was pointing out like the file isn't on chain, but where I pointed out, well, hey, whoa, hang on. If we're gonna point at all the NFTs on L1 at IPFS, and we're gonna fail to mention CryptoPunks, Crypto Skulls, and literally Arweave, which stores information permanently in a decentralized manner. You can see here, Arweave network is like Bitcoin, but for data, a permanent and decentralized web inside an open ledger. Permanent storage has many applications, from the preservation of humanity. Sorry, I'm running out of saliva here. Preservation of humanity's most important data to hosting a truly decentralized and provable neutral web apps. The Arweave protocol is stable, mature, and widely adopted. As such, its ecosystem is fully decentralized. This is a site. This site is just a tip of the iceberg. It acts as a map that points you to places you can learn about. Use and build on Arweave. Dive in, the rabbit hole is deep, and the possibilities are endless. Matter of fact, I believe Meta themselves were going to use this on Instagram. Arweave, that's right. They were going to use Arweave and Polygon, I believe. So, and this is like well known among real developers and real founders. People know about Arweave. We're talking about, I believe the founder of Reddit knows about Arweave. I mean, there's a lot of real hardcore, powerful people that know about Arweave. So it is good to really educate your space about the space holistically and not make these pre-assumptions about like IPFS. That's the only thing that's possible on layer 1. So therefore, no, like if this isn't an NFT, or this technically isn't an NFT because the file itself is not on the chain, then nothing can be considered an NFT. Only the on-chain NFTs will be, but that's not the case, right? Because again, you have things like Arweave, which is decentralized and a way to store files on the blockchain. So the space, we are early. We're going to see solutions like this pop off. We're going to see big companies use these solutions. Now, is Arweave like highly scalable to where Veve needs it? Maybe not right now, right? Maybe not right now. And that's, again, another whole topic of discussion. You know, when you're talking about gas fees, again, I'm not arguing against layer 2s, right? I'm not saying layer 2s are bad. If you look at my channel, I am very for blockchain or layer 2s. So we're going to go to my channel here, and you can literally see all the videos I talk about. Look at this, Immutable X right here. Literally my entire channel is surrounded about layer 2s, like right here, the layer 2 video, layer 2 video, layer 2 video, layer 2 video. So again, where people are trying to paint myself into a corner, I don't appreciate that. But paint myself into a corner like I'm somehow against, layer twos when I'm not. Okay, I'm very much for layer twos, and I'm not saying these are or not NFTs. What I'm saying is like there's different strokes for different folks, right? That's where I'm getting at, is like you'll have collectors on maybe IMX. Then you're going to have collectors on layer one. Then you're going to have collectors that maybe like Bitcoin ordinals. So in my opinion, how I view it, again, is more holistically and appreciating each community that may appreciate each type of collectible on each type of, protocol or blockchain or what have you. Okay. So I don't think alienating a certain group of people is the right way to go about things. And I think that's where the community doesn't understand the tech yet. And they're immediately just going on white blood cell mode, attacking whatever they see that might be considered a virus or might be considered deemed FUD, when in all reality, this is the information. This is how the blockchain works. And even the people that may seem knowledgeable of this tech aren't necessarily telling you the full picture. And that's where I kind of have a problem, because they're painting it into a narrative. And I don't like that, because it appears a little misleading when you're looking at the whole macro NFT space. When you compare directly saying like, oh, look at this, look at how, what was that project? Yeah, this one right here. This guy right here saying, let's see here. He says, this can be changed. You don't really own your art and all this other stuff. But again, with Arweave, technically you do, so again, this discussion right here is only a small picture. Like Goblin Town, this is a independent project. And if you're buying Goblin Town of all projects, you better be like ready to assume some risk, right? And if we chop it deeper into that, we're taking a look at Goblin Town. Now, if Veve or Disney were to get into layer ones, they're obviously more brand trustworthy than Goblin Town, surely, right? So obviously people are like saying, oh, well, what if, the servers go down on layer one? Do you think Disney is going to let their consumers down on the blockchain? I don't think so. So again, that argument is just silly, comparing. Again, to me, it just is so insanely ridiculous, and we shouldn't be like alienating like this. All right, for instance, Goblin Town. Maybe you do have a Goblin Town NFT. Maybe you did like that project and you felt some type of way if they changed the art, but really the art was not the issue. It was the royalties. So again, this is a partial piece of information trying to paint a narrative that isn't true. This was about Goblin Town getting the royalties so they could survive as a project. This is what I was talking about in Spaces, and people didn't understand it yet in Twitter Spaces, and I was saying they didn't understand how smart contracts actually worked, and we're saying, oh, Kyle, you don't know what you're talking about, because smart contracts are bulletproof. And I'm like, no, Blur is literally finding a loophole in an open sea contract so that they can have projects list on Blur and not have to pay the royalties. It's zero fees. And people didn't understand that. Like, we had fake gurus and fake tech people in these spaces telling me otherwise when that was not the case. So again, that's where I have a problem, is people putting one piece of information out there that isn't true. It's not the full picture. It is like when the media runs a little clip of somebody, what they're saying, and they don't provide full context, and that is misleading to me, and that's called yellow journalism in a nutshell. You have to look at the whole picture and why this whole thing popped off to begin with, right? And royalties, we're going to get into that too, because with Arweave, somebody was saying that, well, what if Disney minted on Arweave and layer one? Would they just like let their IP loose and let people own it? Well, again, yes, they could do that. And absolutely, I think in the future they might do that, because Meta, a big company like Meta, was going to use Arweave. So before they, basically rolled back Web3. But again, this is going to come down to more of a royalty issue. And that, I think, is a good topic of discussion there, and a healthy one. We've had it a lot in the Veve community. And as a matter of fact, again, I was bringing this stuff up way early, and nobody was everybody was fading me on it, and it popped off hard. And then all of a sudden everybody cared about royalties. And again, this is kind of what's going on right now. And it doesn't paint a full picture of the entire macro NFT space. And again, you're talking about Goblin Town. Like we're not talking about Disney here. If Disney popped off on layer 1, they're not going to just rug everybody and show a middle finger, right? Like, so drawing those direct comparisons is not fair in my opinion. But yeah, like, so layer 2s, yeah, the fees obviously are much cheaper. How I see that playing out, and I'm gonna get to comments in a minute. I'm just kind of like just rolling it off the chest here, and we're just rolling with the punches. So how I see it is that, again, you'll have most of your NFTs on layer 2s, right? Like, so I think that's where people get confused and assume that like everybody's just gonna roll all of their NFTs up and mint to layer 1. No, that's not how it's gonna work. People are gonna say like, hey, if I have a vault, I might bridge that to layer 1. I might like my vault look. I might like it on layer 1, and I might prefer that. And yes, that might be a little bit less liquid than the L2 for whatever reason, but it also might be way more valuable on layer 1 because, again, layer 1's been around a lot longer, and it's kind of the history of Ethereum itself. So again, there's a lot to extrapolate, and there's a lot of variables to consider, and I'm not going to be the guy that's going to be the arbiter to tell you, hey, layer 1 NFTs are going to be way more valuable than layer 2. I'm not here to say that. I'm just saying that L1, you'll have a collector group that likes L1 NFTs. And as a matter of fact, if you look at my MetaMask, you'll see that I own a lot of layer 1 NFTs. I own a lot of Polygon NFTs. I've been collecting on Immutable X since day 1. And as a matter of fact, I made people like $50K literally $50,000 because some of my calls on Immutable X, and multiple times. It wasn't just with one project, it was several projects. So again, I have NFTs, a little bit of NFTs everywhere on a lot of different, protocols, layer 2s, mainnet NFTs, if you will. So again, like, I'm not going to discriminate here, but I do respect that there's going to be collectors that like certain NFTs in certain areas. You have people that like Solana NFTs. You have people that like, ZK Sync NFTs. You have people that like Polygon NFTs. You have people that like Arbitrum NFTs. You have people that like XYZ Cardano NFTs or whatever, right? And so my job is to help people get a more holistic picture of the entire space and not to minimize what is going on here and paint narratives. I just don't like that. When I see that, it just looks a little disgusting to me because, again, like, this was not, about changing the art. I mean, the art did get changed, but this was more of a royalty situation because, again, we're being confronted with projects that could die if they don't update their smart contract. And this is good for Veve. So posting this is a little counterintuitive because, again, this is actually a bullish thing for Veve. And again, this guy just doesn't understand the full picture and is trying to paint a certain narrative, but he doesn't have the full picture. And again, I talked about this before in spaces, but we don't have enough people with the full picture out there in the space in the Veve community, given a full perspective on this issue and why it's actually a good thing for Veve. And I've talked about this and all the companies that have released smart contracts and I've given examples on DJ Dad's podcast of these projects that are updating their smart contracts so that they can survive, that they can still fund their treasuries and things like that. That's good. That's good for brands like what we're seeing on Veve, right? And again, so this is a little counterintuitive in my opinion. And that's where I am like, I don't necessarily like that, right? So again, you have people like, having to basically, let's say we're having to, let me see if I can search here. There's just there's a lot, right? There's a lot of people that just are saying some random stuff that they don't have a full understanding of the tech. By the way, there's a Punisher drop that just happened. I missed that because I've been ranting, but if you got that, let me know in the chat. P for Punisher if you're able to get that. Dang it, I wish I would have went for the drop. You guys are supposed to warn me in chat, man. Filecoin better. Yeah, Filecoin is another one of those solutions. They provide services for IPFS. They have the new Filecoin FEM. And I assume that they'll have solutions exactly like Arweave and be able to scale up their platform too. So again, a lot of people just don't know how this tech works, but let's see here. Yeah, I don't even know. I mean, I know that like people are just like trying to paint everything as FUD and like name calling here. And anyway, shout out to Hello K for sticking up, man. You know, people that are saying like, oh, it's paid FUD. Like how? Like, go to my wallet and see how much Quid tokens I own. Like, go to my wallet. You can see everything online. Like, you can see my wallets. You can see everybody's wallets. Like, everything's public. So again, I just think that these personal attacks are a little bit of a low blow. And I don't like it. I wish that those people would not do that. I mean, I just wanted to point that out. Like that this is where we are, right? We're in a bear market. People are in the fields. People are trying to paint their own narratives, and I get it. But it's about being objective, and it's about being as informative as you can. And again, I've talked a lot about this, about the cycles of Bitcoin, the cycles of macro, the cycles of the economy. And I warned people about the macro. I warned people about FTX. People were like, oh, Kyle, but FTX, that has nothing to do with OMI. Man, now I bet you probably wish you listened now. And none of this is financial advice. But again, we're definitely in the times, right? In OMI, you know, again, like I've been doing people probably a better service than most. Like, you know, you have Veve Moonboy Maxis that will try to tell you that the OMI token is going to be fine, when all reality you got wrecked all the way down, where, you know, you have people that are providing insights into OMI, and maybe you're actually able to get in on a dip, and maybe you are actually able to take gains. Like, do you want to follow people that are insanely biased and that lose you money all the time? Or do you want to follow people that maybe provide better insights and education and information, and puts better information out that you can actually learn from and take actionable insights on, right? And I think that's where we need to really pay attention to and really take a look out for. Because again, nobody really knew about Arweave. Actually, nobody knew about Arweave in the Veve community, maybe like one or two, but the voices aren't loud enough to actually get that out, because everybody was drawing a comparison to IPFS, but not talking about Arweave. So I felt that, you know, not providing all the information out there is important. You know, I think that it's not fair, right? I think putting all the information out there is a better way forward. And again, I've said why this is bullish in like Twitter Spaces for some people and for like brands and things like that. But again, people want to paint their own narratives and say what they want. They don't join the spaces. You have people like that. I won't say his name. But we can all probably know who it is. He doesn't join spaces, but he'll go happily on Twitter and tell, you know, people that are just putting info out there that they're paid FUD. There's a couple of people out there doing that, even though I was in spaces saying why this is actually bullish for Veve. But anyways, that being said, Yuga just won their case here again. We're going to get into this because this is breaking news. Yuga won their summary judgment against Ryder Rips. This further cements against copycat art or NFT clones that claim its freedom of expression. This also suggests that the underlying art is owned and it's not a JPEG. So let me turn my mic down a little bit. I might be shouting at you guys. Sorry. This further cements, again, let me read that again, that last sentence. It also just suggests that the underlying art is owned by the IP owner, and it's not just a JPEG. Let that sink in for a second. So again, if you're NFT, or if you bridge an asset, like if it's on IMX and you bridge to layer 1, and that's obviously still owned by Disney, and the servers go down, I mean, you still own, like, it's still owned by the company, right? So this further suggests, again, that layer 1 NFTs on Ethereum are protected in terms of the underlying art and assets. And this is where IP gets interesting, right? So again, that's just another layer and another win for brands on layer 1 Ethereum as well. So there's definitely big updates here and how one might extrapolate that. So lots to be discussed about that. Now, this is summary judgment in terms of this case, and it could be pending. it could go up to an appeal. I'm not a lawyer, so maybe we could get a lawyer on the channel to fully discuss this. But anyways, this is news. This was just an article. I thought this was interesting because, again, this proves that, like, this underlying art is actually protected, and you can't necessarily just copy anything you want and throw it on the blockchain. And so, yeah. And again, if Disney did this on layer 1, I highly doubt they're going to rug you, right? I don't think Disney and Marvel are just going to like not have your images like all of a sudden and just be like, sorry, that your NFTs are worthless now. I don't think they're going to do that, just because somebody in Spaces was pointing out yesterday that the comic app on Amazon, they're going belly up, and they're actually providing their users with a comic on the Marvel Unlimited or something like that. Apparently, that's what I think it was. What is it? His name, Masys, from the Veve community. He was mentioning that. What was it? Comixology, I believe, is the one going belly up, where it was just a digital comic that you bought or something like that, and you could read them, and they went belly up. So therefore, your account just blew up, and your assets went kapoof. And with Web 2, it's literally on a server. Like with Web 3, it's somewhat decentralized, and the files just stay up. Like, it's not like. What everybody's trying to say is that these servers are centralized as well, which is obviously not true as well. So if we go back to this post where it talks about IPFS, yeah, technically the developer can change the art, but at the same time, the file is not on some kind of centralized server. Some people use decentralized mechanisms like Filecoin, for example, that's been around for years and provides those services. So people are trying to, again, use their narratives to paint a certain picture when that's not true. It's just not true on some of this information. And yeah, it's partially true, but again, I feel that that's a little misleading, and that's where I have a disagreement about, is because you have decentralized IPFS systems, you have decentralized permanent file storage, you have a lot of this different mechanisms in place in terms of the NFT space. So it's not like it's just like, oh, on-chain NFTs, IPFS NFTs, that's it. These IPFS files are just going to go down at any time. Be aware, and then you'll be left with just a token. It doesn't work like that. Like, you have to have the developer has to go in and has to update that stuff in order for you to lose the access to the art on the actual token, or that the token points to. And so there's more to it than meets the eye, right? And that's where I'm trying to get at. It's not just like simple black and white. And so therefore, if these aren't NFTs, nothing's an NFT kind of scenario, right? It doesn't work like that. All right. Let me get back to the comments. Let me drink some water. Mr. Dealey. Alex and Crypto, hi, everybody. Hello, K, let's go, sir. Info on their future and vision, says Conrad. Hey, I hope they do soon too. They've been traveling for a while. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully they can hop on the horn and tell everybody what's going on. I think next week, or this coming week, or I guess this week, we'll hopefully have some more information. I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to get more information. The OUP's merged with MCP. Another thing. I have one more bone to pick. People are mad at the consumers right now, right? I see, like, again, the white blood cell attacking, just immediately attacking everything right now. But like, people are mad at consumers on Veve, but those consumers are upset because Veve said that they're going to roll out like interoperability, self-custody, yada, 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 right? There's like a billion screenshots and like they deleted, and there's articles, right? The point being is, like, some of these consumers are upset because they thought that it was coming because that's what was communicated. And when that issue gets brought up, immediately you have like people attacking them for bringing that up. But it's like, well, it's not their fault. That's literally the team's fault for communicating that. That's not FUD. That's just like, hey, I thought this was coming. What happened? And some people are like, oh, I'm fine with waiting. well, that's on you. That's your opinion. And if you're fine with waiting, that's cool. I'm cool too. Like, I don't mind waiting, but I could see where somebody would be coming from if they bought like XYZ NFTs because I thought that they're going to be self-custody and interoperable based on the communication that was given by the company. So you have to stop like attacking each other online over silly things like that and understand that they're a consumer. It'd be like going up to a McDonald's and you order a coffee and McDonald's gives you a water and you're like, well, what the heck? Like, I ordered a coffee and I thought, and then all of a sudden the person behind you is yelling at you because, you know, you got a water instead of a coffee and it's your fault that the McDonald's got your order wrong. I don't know. I'm trying to draw a comparison there. I just don't get it. I don't see it. I don't like being mad at the consumer is weird. Right. And I think that people need to take time to reflect on themselves a little bit and not just point fingers at other people when in all reality, if you actually boil it down at a base level, it's really the team that just needs to deliver the features. It's that simple, right? And I think that's where everybody's at right now is people just want to see deliverables, and that's okay. You know, if people want to see deliverables, let them want to see deliverables. Like, it's their opinion. Like, we got to respect people's opinions in the community. And if they point out certain points, then let them point it out. Like, there's no reason to attack them over it. And I see like some of these things being pointed out, like the article that was released about carbon neutrality. It mentioned Veve is minting on Ethereum, and then that could be misleading, right? So somebody pointed that out. I believe it was Kay that pointed that out. It's a simple fix. It's just you update like one sentence on the article, and it solves the problem. But people were attacking Kay for bringing it up, which I thought was a bit ridiculous. Because as a consumer, once again, looking at it from a consumer perspective, I could see how somebody could get confused that they would assume that these NFTs were being minted on layer 1 and not layer 2. When in all reality, layer 2 is what makes the technology exciting, right? It's gasless, it's highly scalable. It's what we've seen from previous articles that were probably written by Reese, because Reese knows blockchain very well. And then people went on to say, well, this isn't a technical article. Well, I'm like, I literally read the article and it mentions like the Capella, the Shanghai upgrade, the merge. I'm like, this is a technical article. It's mentioning all these upgrades, but you left out the one piece of information that makes it actually accurate. So again, I thought the article could have just been updated. You know, it wasn't a big deal. I just brought it up because people didn't understand where Kay was coming from. So I translated it, and people started attacking me because I translated what Kay was saying. And shout out to Rebel Duck, because he said I actually helped people understand what was going on. So I just think people are attacking whatever seem like even look like even whatever is like they think could be FUD. They're immediately attacked. Like, it's just like, this is not FUD. Like, this is literally just good points being brought up that people should look at, right? It's not like we're writing the articles. Like, this is just a consumer perspective, right? And I think healthy discussions can be had. I just think people are a little emotional because it's the bear market. The token's down quite a bit. Really, the entire market's down quite a bit, right? You look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's down from like 60K, whatever. Ethereum's down. Omi's down. Hardcore. It's like basically like the lowest it's been in like, you know, a year or two. So everybody's like super emotional. The Veve market's down. You know, people are just very emotional right now. So instead of approaching it from like a rational, unbiased, like objective perspective, people are just a little getting a little emotional, I think, over things that they think it's FUD, but it's really not. So that's my whole thing right there. Again, here on the channel, if you've been following me on the channel, you know I've been putting out good stuff here again. So I know like these people say like, oh, you're paid by a quid. Like, no, that's not like what's going on here. Look at this. I covered Ronin Chain. I covered Adidas. Like, I covered Mattel. Like, I covered Immutable X. Covered Veve like in a billion videos. Like, you know what I mean? So to say that is just a bit ridiculous. It's a bit ridiculous. And to attack people's characters is not cool in the community. And of course, we cover everything on DJ Dad's podcast. Look at this, DC, NFTs. We talk about literally everything here on the channel. Midnight Society, which pumped, as I'll mention that too, is like, I started talking about that super early when these NFTs were cheap, and you could have made a ton of money on that. So we're giving a lot of free alpha, a lot of free game here on the channel, and which is none of this is financial advice, just entertainment only, but you get the picture. All right, let's get back to the chat. There's so much to cover. Fun topic, says SoCal Omi Homie. Hello K says, I read through Veve smart contract and Etherscan's typical open Zeppelin contract with the usual functions of minting, ownership, and transfer. Don't think this would matter long term because the population won't care about that. And that's that. Okay, I get that narrative. All right, we're going to talk about that. So Jess of NFT Frog says, I don't think this matter long term because the population won't care about it. What specifically though? Like, you know what I mean? What are we talking about here? What are they not going to care about? Are they not going to care about that they own the NFT? Are they not going to care about the file or the asset? Because as it appears right now, people kind of care about it because it's in a lawsuit. Like literally the IP is suing some guy that's copying their art. And so to me, I don't know. I think that's like, no, I don't agree with that because the actual brand owners do care about it. So therefore, by a trickle down effect, it will matter to the user who's actually buying this stuff. So I think it will matter. Now, if you're talking about like if it matters on L2 or L1, that's just your personal decision. I don't know. Like that's up to you to decide. Now, if it's up to me and I have, let's say I have 2 waltz, or let's say I have a walt on L2, me personally, I'm going to bridge it or mint it. Technically it's minting to layer 1, right? I'm going to mint that to layer 1. And that's just my personal choice. Now, I'm not going to mint all my NFTs to layer 2. And like you do have a point there that I don't think I don't think everybody's just gonna mint their NFTs to layer one because obviously there's gas fees, but layer 2 is more efficient, and you're not gonna like mint your dollar bin comics up to layer 1, are you? No. And so that's where a lot of people are not extrapolating and not being critical thinking about like the situation. People are just going to assume like everybody's going to mint their NFTs to layer 1 and, royalties and all this stuff. It's not going to destroy the Veve app, guys. Like it's just not. It's like it's just going to provide people self-custody option on layer 1, and it could provide more value in that way, in that manner. And heck, if anything, you could build probably more smart contracts around layer 1 NFTs in general anyways. And like, utility or whatever. So what I'm trying to say is like, there's going to be choices, right? It's not like it's just like black and white. Everybody in the community is trying to make it black or white. Like, oh, you got to keep your NFTs on L2 or that's it. You can't bridge it, bro. You can't mint it. It's illegal. It's like very cult-like thinking that's going on right now. Not everybody's cult-like thinking. I think it's just a few. But it's just because there's not an understanding of how the tech works, I think. So I think as long as people educate themselves on the technology, then we can have that discussion later on about, what's better, in terms of what is it an NFT? Is it not an NFT? Then I think that discussion maybe can be made, and that's not my choice. I'm not gonna die on that bridge. I'll let other people die on that bridge, because that's not on me to decide. If it's a layer 2, NFT, layer 1. It's just for me as my personal choice. I'm gonna probably mint a layer 1 NFT if it's a Grail, but I'm gonna keep my like other stuff on layer 2 because it just makes sense. We're already seeing that on HRO, and I already said that was gonna happen with the HRO, and which is why I highlighted it. I highlighted it with Gary Vee's book NFTs. Literally, I was one of the first, if not the first creator in the NFT space to highlight that you could roll and mint those NFTs to layer 1 because Gary Vee actually did that already. And then you had HRO. So again, people are acting like they learned this long ago when I was nobody knew this stuff. I was the only one covering it other than like Hello K and a few people that were breaking open packs, taps back in the day. So not a lot of people were covering this until they got educated and started learning about Immutable X. They started learning about layer 1s. So we don't like theoretic, like if you look at it like that, there's not a lot of actual a lot of people that know everything about the blockchain, right? It's just people learning what they've seen on YouTube, what they've heard in spaces and things like that. So yeah. Yo, what's going on, Ivan Losa? Tuning in from my work. My guess is long term, the masses will value most likely whatever the licensor deem as first and not get technical. Veve viral. Veve viral. We going viral. Hey, that could be. I'm not going to argue against that. Yeah, I'm not going to argue against that. That's a good point. So Ivan says he thinks that the masses will value what the licensor said was the first, and that's a good point. But to kind of be contrarian, you have the Thrawn comic that the first appearance of Thrawn isn't as valuable as the full cover appearance of Thrawn, and then you also have the Charizard, which that's the Pokemon card. The first Charizard is not as valuable as the first edition, or I don't know. It's been like years since I collected Pokemon, but I believe that's the example that a lot of people use, like Randy Chavez uses. So it's not always the first appearance that is always the most valuable. Although personally, I do like first appearances, but I also do acknowledge that there's multiple variables to this game. People, there's multiple variables, and I think the smart people are going to win. I don't think that the masses, when we say masses, the collectible space isn't like this gigantic. Like we have like everybody just running around collecting NFTs and collecting, like baseball cards. No, it's like a small group of people in a niche collecting, right? Like I don't know. I think we just assume like there's going to be millions and billions of people running around collecting NFTs. I don't think that's the case. I think we'll have a healthy community, and I think we can definitely get back to where we were eventually, like long term. It might take a few years, and but I don't know. Like I think the community is going to have to decide what is the highly sought after collectible. So far, I've been pretty spot on. Like I remember in the beginning, I was saying low mints could be are probably going to be valuable and sought after, and people are like, oh bro, you're stupid because they're the exact same NFT. And I was like, yeah, but the blockchain is going to show which one's minted and first, and people are going to want to probably collect that. Like the blockchain matters. No, bro, you're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. That's the most ridiculous thing I heard. And I was like, okay. And everybody started collecting low mints. Immediately, they're just worth like way more than the other mints. And then I was like, all right, well, hang on a second. Veve holds back some of these mints, so you might want to be careful. You might not want to go too hard on some of these low mints. Like, I'm not going to stop you from going low mints, not financial advice, but you might want to reconsider going too hard on some of the low mints. And people, no, bro, Veve's never going to everybody said. And then what happened? Veve did OTC and they did a giveaways. Like I was like, I told you guys they're gonna do giveaways. Like nobody wants to listen until it's too late. And that's my point with collecting. Nobody's gonna want to listen to the early guys until it's too late. And I think that's where Gary Vee was spot on. I do have a clip of Gary Vee. Let me see if I can actually pull up Gary Vee, where he was saying we're too early. And now, man, now more than ever, I wish I would have listened to Gary a little bit more. Let's see if I can pull this up.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Just making this quick.
I don't know if this is gonna load.
Now, I'm immutable. I love layer twos, but like, let there be no confusion. I don't have, even in my small investments compared to my career in Recur or Candy, like, I'm fucking cheering for everybody. I don't think the biggest issue right now in the space is people think that this is an or game with the amount of meaningful IP in the world. Veve, Solana, ETH, Candy, Recur, Dapper, the world.
I think this is the wrong video, but I think the point I'm trying to make here is, I think it was actually the Dan Schabel video. So let me see if I can pull that one up. Shout out to Dan Schabel. Schabel. Pronounce his name right.
Versus Sunny on how I have to be as a leader. So that's what Veve closed environment, decentralized.
It's switching away from being a closed environment, though. It's going to be
the question will, yeah, I know that, but the question will become, will the market accept it as the first, or was it the first that minted on mainnet because they didn't got it? Because now it won't.
Like, Gary has a freaking point, man. Like, and once again, he said, he goes on.
First, so there's all of it's awesome. Like,
so he's pointing out there's a lot of variables, right? There's a lot of variables is what he's trying to say. I think we dissed Gary a little too much in the beginning. All right. And I think Gary actually had a good point here.
You have no idea.
At a minimum, you're having fun and you're learning about this space.
Great point. Dan had a great point. At the minimum, we're learning.
You don't know, but you're willing to, see what's going to work, and especially for your business, because NFTs is wrapped around a lot of what you do.
I also like the fact that the results are going to be the results. I don't know. I have hunches. I will spend my money and put my reputation on the line against those hunches. And I have the humility and the confidence to navigate that, because I realize that if I am wrong, it's incredibly, this.
So anyways, he's just saying it's basically too early, like, for him to make a decision, which is fair. I think like that's okay. Like, maybe we are too early. And there, he does mention, like, he's basically saying there's a lot of variables, right? And what could win the day, and like, there's just a lot. And I think that's fair, especially when we're talking about all these different topics, L2, L1, ordinals, even where the actual, the art is actually on Bitcoin itself. There's a lot, right? But for me, from a collector standpoint, again, I look at it as there's probably going to be different groups of collectors. Like if and here's a question I asked here, like here to Sailor's dad. Let's see if I can pull it up. All right, so I asked here is like, all right, if you have a, actually, let me see if I can find it. I don't know if that was the one. Okay, so theoretically, if there's a FA Spider-Man minted at the exact same time on IMX and as a Bitcoin ordinal, if you could only pick one, which one would you pick? All right, chat, let me know in the chat. Would you want a Bitcoin ordinal where the asset is directly on chain and it's permanent forever on the most decentralized blockchain in the entire world? Or would you want the IMX version if they're minted at the exact same time and you could only pick one? Fam, which one are you going to pick? Be honest. Be honest. Which one are you going to pick? So the point being is most people are going to pick, I'll let the chat decide. Which one are you going to pick? You going to pick the Bitcoin ordinal minted on the most historical significant blockchain in humanity's existence? Or are you going to accept, or are you going to want the IMX one? Which one are you going to pick? I think we all know the answer to that question. Why? Is because there's a collector group that may value an ordinal a little bit more than maybe even an ETH, or maybe even more than an IMX. So the point being is there's going to be different groups of collectors, right? That's the point I'm trying to make. Now, the ordinal Bitcoin, the ordinal may be too expensive for a lot of people. So therefore, what are people going to do? What we already see on Veve. People collect the next one down, the higher mint. Okay, right? So that's the point I'm making, is there's collector groups that are going to be everywhere. And we got to respect that. We got to respect people who are going to have a higher mint number. Like, it's, you know what I mean? You see where I'm coming from? IMX, because the gaming perspective, bro, the cap, full cap. BTC, right? BTC, ordinal, BTC. Duck and Cover voted twice. Bitcoin Ordinal. Okay, so Duck and Cover, you do have a point. This is okay. So yeah, I agree with the gaming part, and I've brought that up many times. So this isn't a new issue. This is something that I brought up before too. Is gaming will pop off. You'll have Web3. You'll have Veve that's in proximity to all these games on IMX, which is a good thing because you have all the marketplaces on IMX that have open order book. The open order book is you sell an NFT on IMX and it lists it on all the marketplaces all at the same time. And it's enforced royalties pretty much. We'll get into that later. Another discussion for another time. So that's good. Yeah, I agree with that. But fam, for a collectible, you're going to pass up a Bitcoin Ordinal? Secret Rare Spider-Man? Nah, get out of here. You're going to accept a Bitcoin Ordinal, maybe sell it and buy like 10 of the IMX Secret Rare Spider-Mans instead. Maybe you do that. Like, come on, fam. Like, let's be real with ourselves here. We're going to collect that on-chain one. And that's why there will be different collectors, different strokes for different folks. And it's going to be also what you can afford, right? So that's another thing is like what you can afford. I think that's going to come down to that too. Yo, shout out to Cryptoverse for becoming a member. And by the way, shout out to Sailor's dad. Never answered the question. Never answered the question, man, because you know the answer. You got an ordinal. It says right here in your profile. I'm going to put you on blast. Like, look here, BTC stamp, BTC stamper. You know the answer. You didn't even answer it. You got to answer that question, man. You know, Sailor's dad. You know what you would get. You get that ordinal. And he said, "I'm gonna go check out Arweave, that permanent file storage over here." So, anyways, I'm just giving you guys free game, free alpha. Look, I didn't even want to do this video because I will roll. I'll mint it out to layer 1. I'll let you guys decide what you guys are going to do with your grails. Now, I'm not minting all my NFTs to layer 1 because that's ridiculous. I'm not going to pay $1 billion in gas. But hey, if I have a $10,000 NFT, you better believe I'm spending a couple bucks to mint that sucker to layer 1. And I'll spend a little bit of money on gas. Hey, that grail is worth it to be minting out on layer 1. So that's the point I'm making is like. And not to throw shade at, like, listen, I love IMX. I love layer 2s. I've worked at a layer 2. So get out of here with that layer 2 FUD stuff that you're trying to paint on me. Like, get out of here with that. So anyways, I'm giving you guys free alpha. This is alpha, all right? So at the end of the day, a lot of people are giving you guys free game and free alpha. So I would be, instead of mad, I would be more appreciative of that free alpha that you're getting here on the channel and on Twitter. So just be happy, man. Just be happy. It's all vibes out here. By the way, look at this Punisher. If you got a Punisher, let me know in the chat. Let me know if you are in chat. Got a Punisher in the chat. Let me know if you were able to cop one. Gosh, man, we got way a lot of comments to catch up on. Poor man print in the house, man. Poor man. We need to do a stream sometime eventually. Got my AR bag since Q2 2022. We need a whiskey and cigar stream from Poor Man Printin', says SoCal Omi Homie. I sold all my NFTs as soon as I got away, or as soon as I saw what was happening with Veve and Omi. Yeah, I remember you got out pretty early, man. You cashed out quick. You locked in some gains, so I can't knock that. That's for sure. Big unlock soon. Anything possible? Oh, ILV. Yep, ILV. Hey, by the way, we gave that ILV, man, that alpha, like on the channel too. Just want to shout that out too, because it was like what, $300 ILV, and it went all the way to 1,800. And if you took profits, dear God, you printed money. You should have been printing money on this channel from day one. I've been like telling you guys, I've been like super accurate in the bull and the bear market. So that goes to show you how different this channel is from everybody else. Like, you guys get free game here on the channel. Was right about price predictions in the bull, and in the bear saying, don't ape into Boba because he ain't going to do well. And guess what? Boba didn't do well. And, people were aping in left and right. and some guy like maxed out his credit cards buying bobas, and what happened with boba. So anyways, I feel that my price predictions, I'm proud of them. Again, I always reiterated these price predictions are entertainment, informational only, and to just use your own due diligence and your own research. But I just wanted to highlight and toot my horn on that a little bit, because man, we've been spitting so much alpha on the channel. And it is what it is. Kyle, check out the latest tweet of Artifact 45 minutes ago. Says blockchain comments. Let's do it. Artifact is one of my favorite projects right now, man. I don't even own an Artifact project or NFT, but I am looking to make an entry. So I can't believe I don't follow them. I was tweeting this yesterday. I've been giving some alpha on the channel. So we got these claimable. Ooh. Dude, that's scary. That's scary. I don't know if I get that one. I like the gold one. So these are the shoes here. These are NFTs that are digital. So you can go in, and if you own one of these shoe NFTs, you can actually claim it for a physical, I believe, like at these crafting events that they're going to start throwing. This is pretty cool, though. Take a look at those. They're also advertising this at the I think this is what, the Tokyo Square in Japan, I think. These are the same shoes. So this is like on the corner. Really cool advertisements. Artifact, man, leading the game in AR collectibles. I'm telling you guys, watch out for Artifact. They're doing big things. And retweeted by Nike. Nike retweeted Artifact, so that was pretty cool. Those Murakamis, man, those are sick. I want to own a pair of those just to put it up in a case behind me, because that's how cool I think those are. But I've been spitting that free game for a while about Artifact, man, and telling you guys, like, I've been saying that, at least on the Paul Barron Substack. So if you're following Paul Barron's Substack, you want to definitely tune into that. You can see, like, check this out. Those are pretty sick. It's got the CloneX badge right there on the shoelace. You know, I would need like 2 pairs of those. One would go up in a case and not be worn like ever. And then I would want to wear a pair to like maybe events and things like that, like the decons and like the crypto events and NFT events. So shout out to Artifact, man, doing big things. I definitely think they're leading the way too, because they were at NVIDIA's GTC conference talking about how they're going to integrate avatars into AI, which I think is really cool. All right, let me see. Let me get back to hold up. We got to get back to the chat here. We have hello, or the Gale, BTC, Living Aloha, Ordinal. Oh gosh, sorry if you can hear my daughter. Hang on, let me shut the door. We back. All right, let's see here. VB Arcade in the house. What's going on? Steven Freelander, good, great work. Thanks. You appreciate that. Going to hodl this one. La Punisher. Let's go, Ricky Tant. Dude, you're always like sniping. Last year was sold like a year ago. Trying to sort through these comments real quick. Gonna sell my collection and go all in on Pepe. It says duck and cover. All my money's going to the crypto for the foreseeable future. Hey, crypto's good. Like it's a good opportunity right now. I will say, like, the dips look nice. Mint on blockchain, says VV Arcade. Cryptoverse, BTC. 46 watchers, only 24 likes, and only 4 of us support. Kyle got 99 cents per month. Come on, fam. Hey, yeah, man. We've been doing this for what, like 3 years, and I appreciate. Shout out to the channel members, man. I appreciate y'all. I really do, man. Cryptoverse just sponsored. Hey, welcome to the Red Circle Army, baby. Let's go. Let's see. Cryptoverse Pikachu in the house. On chain would be king overall. Welcome. GM Master Kyle says Jimbo Lee Lingo in the house. What's up, buddy? Thanks for the Alpha Man. AK Bones got 1 secret rare, 1 ultra rare. Let's go, Ricky Tan. Got punished on Punisher, says Living Aloha. Hit comment. I must have missed it, but I don't understand how BTC ordinals are on chain. It's through the ordinal theory, so just go to Google, type in ordinal theory, and it's through the Taproot on Bitcoin. So basically, some guy, I guess this, you can see like this guy that actually discovered it. He's got I guess it looks like he's got his own website. Casey Rod Armor is the actual guy that discovered it. But he figured out that the taproot mechanism on Bitcoin that basically like labeled Satoshis, he was able to use the taproot theory or the taproot to inscribe Bitcoin ordinals or basically attach data to them. So you can attach data or arbitrary like images and things like that. So that's what people started doing. And that's recent. So it was like making history and things like that. Very cool. It's very cool. A lot of people call it inscriptions because they view it as deeper than an NFT. Like they don't like it being called an NFT, which is why they call it an ordinal or an inscription, because it's like an artifact on the blockchain. So a lot of people call it like artifacts. So you'll hear that terminology thrown around as well. Is some people call it artifacts because they're there forever. It's permanent. Bitcoin stamps as well. It's similar in terms of that as well. Let's see here. Yo, I got lucky today and hit a secret rare. Let's go. That skip on Punisher, horrible mint size and horrible price at 5K mint. $7 drop would have been amazing, says your local scalper. That's a good point. It was 20 gems, wasn't it? Love that billboard. They had one with a wave. I saw crazy. Yeah, that billboard's nuts. It always makes the news because they always put trippy stuff on it. Got 3 uncommons, Cisco diverse. Let's go. Uncommon gang, it is painful, man. Got uncommons for the past 6 comic drops I bought. Yeah, don't get me started, man. I do get a lot of uncommons and commons. Chris Coffee in the house says Taproot Wizards, baby. Chris knows. Chris got that alpha. He knows about that Bitcoin game, that Bitcoin ordinal game. I can't afford 99 cents. I'm left me broke, homeless, and divorced. How it's sold though. JStorm in the house, 13. Needs a pick me up today. Everybody have JStorm a big heart emoji. Give him a virtual hug. He needs it. He needs to be given a hug today on the internet because listen, we all deserve to have a positive atmosphere, and even in the downtimes, man, people need some love. And the bear market is done a number on a lot of us, right? And for me, it's not my first cycle, so I'm kind of like I'm actually not even phased by it because I've actually been making some gains in this market, and so yeah. So shout out to JStorm there, man. Hopefully you get in a better position. Yo, thank you, Kyle. Did you know my book drops tomorrow? Ooh, no, I can't believe it's Stealing Manhattan. Find it everywhere, and I'm going to be giving gifts to all the Omi and Veve holders. If anyone mentions you also. Hey, let's go, man. I didn't know that. Send me a DM. I'd love to take a look at that and be able to support that, man. That looks cool and sounds cool. SoCal Omi Homie says, I usually say Salah comic, but there's still no cash out. Oh, yeah, there's no cash out, right? I know Wire announced that they're resuming like their services. So hopefully we get some news soon on that. But yeah. So hopefully we get some news on that. All right, that's all I got for this one, man. I've been streaming too long. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. It's been about an hour. Hopefully this was more like not as per se a rant, but more something to educate people on the macro of the NFT space, right? It's not just so simple. We're still kind of early. We're still seeing technology rolled out. We're still seeing projects scale. We're still seeing people determining value, ordinals popping off, Bitcoin stamps popping off. So there's just a lot going on in the space, and it's like, it's interesting. It's interesting, right? And you have to approach it from a collector standpoint as well, too. So there's like the tech side, the back end, the minting features, like if that's important to you or not. There's a lot, right? There's a lot of variables. Did Marvel say it's FA, it's the first? Like people might value that, like Ivan said. But that, at the same time, then there's culture. Culture can determine value. Like if you drop the Mando Din Djarin right now, let's say he had similar editions, maybe a little bit less editions than Boba. Do you think that one's going to be more valuable than the actual Boba Fett? I think it actually might, because people why? Because people actually love the Mando. Like, people love the Mandalorian, Din Djarin. And it'd be iconic. Like not only the first appearance of Mando, Din Djarin, but he's a new character, and it could be a good way to get in early. Because long run, I could see that character doing really well if Disney does them right. You know what I mean? I got the comic right here, The Mandalorian, for a reason, and that Grogu. I think that's like FA Grogu appearance on a comic cover right there. So that's why I like that comic. So culture matters too. I don't know. Maybe one day we all burn Bobas one day and help that guy back out, man. I feel bad for Boba, man. FA Mando on But anyways, there's a lot of, well, the point being is there's a lot of variables, right, to dissect, and as a community, it will be decided. It's like when people it was funny too back then when Veve was popped off. People were making moves on the back end and not telling people the alpha, because as soon as you said the alpha, everybody started doing it. So the game is always trying to get ahead of the crowd. And I think that's where some of these opportunities lie. And if you're smart enough to pick up some of these things, then you'll be able to probably be in a lot of games, right? And again, I didn't want to share any of this alpha with you guys before, because listen, I'm gonna be doing my part if that feature becomes available, if you know what I mean. So anyways, I didn't want to reveal the alpha, but here we are. We're revealing it here on the stream, because there was a lot to cover. So anyways, that's all I got for this one. I appreciate you all. You guys have a great rest of your week. I probably won't be doing a video until for a couple days. So check it out on Twitter. I'll be updating over there, and things like that. And, yeah, just be on the lookout on Twitter, and I will see you guys in the next one. Be like an NFT. Be authentic. Din Grogu is better. Sorry for spoiler. Great stream. Everyone hit the bell and the like. Hey, appreciate that. Also, you guys gonna get Target, Bishop Packs, Prism. Trying to catch up on the comments. All right. Be like an NFT, be authentic, and I will see you guys later. Peace.
Baby, you seen it live. I got me.
Air drop in the stimulus. I was praying for a better day. I was hustling, had to make a play. So the NFT, now my money straight. We in Web3 in the meta space. They was pressing me like an AMA. Feel like Gucci with a lemonade. Please excuse me if you feel away. In the metaverse and I'm getting paid. Augmented reality, living life lavishly, yo. I captured my life and I made it a gallery, yo. I told my story and made it my salary, yo. I put my family on that, they proud of me, yo. I'm not the one you could play with. Don't you know it could get dangerous? Not worried about getting famous. I just wanna pull up and lane switch. This era decentralization birthed a new civilization. Crypto been doing amazing. Bank account multiplication.
I'm a CEO, no label. LLC, I'm a walking businessman. 360 cause I'm able to get on my own, I don't need your helping hand. My crypto worth more than your little advance. I got me some ETH, now I'm making some bands. I'm up like a rocket, I'm never gonna land. Turn my cash to crypto, I'm rich and living better. You flexing that cash, but it ain't making cheddar. I'm fungible, gangsta, love mills on my sweater. Checkmate, kiss